Hey guys, Tebow here. Today we got a look at the Tier 6 Russian battleship Sinop. Katarov on the screen here. Want to point out once again that Nelson's only like level 9, Kondo 11. It's not a bad build, but I'm kind of using them as placeholders, as just kind of default brawler build type of commanders. Don't have a lot of commanders in the brawler build category leveled up that high, so just kind of placeholders. They're not going to have a lot of effect at this current build. You can run a Hyde, Nelson, Jellicoe, Takagi, Sheer, Lee, potentially. You know, commanders of this ilk are going to work very well with this line. I'm mostly just trying to test out the non-accuracy build, though. Kedarov's the brawler. We don't have Cunningham. We don't have anything along those lines. So you don't need it on this line, at least not in the Tier 3, 4, and now 6, which are the ships I got through early access. You know, there we'll see some long range shots, we'll see some short range shots in this game. It doesn't really matter. I mean, according to the game, 11 kilometers out is kind of the sweet spot for these Russian battleships. But I've seen pretty dang accurate salvos at, you know, around 13 kilometers. It's less reliable once you get out of range, of course, but, you know, you're still able to kind of pick at that citadel from time to time. And then when you get in closer, I mean, you're just not going to be missing shots. So, you know, there's a lot of, the bias is strong with this one. Let's just put it that way. How you play the ship, I'm not going to get too into the stats overall. It's got 406 millimeter guns, which is, you know, tied with Colorado, 410s in the Japanese at Tier 6. So very high caliber guns, short range on the brawler build, of course. But armor, just point your nose in at whoever you're fighting. Don't let them shoot your sides. If you get shot in the sides, you die. If you get shot in the nose, you live. And, you know, good mobility, 27 knots in the water. Huge turning circle, 960 like all Russian ships. And then concealment, like I said, is tied for best if you got Kondo on here. So it's probably pretty decent. Try and get on the flanks if you can, but then just point at your target. So that's all I'll talk about with the stats. I picked this game here, though, because we got some good brawler action. And these Soviet battleships are kind of brawler type ships, and we've got ourselves into a bit of a nasty brawl in this game, so I thought we'd check it out. Really was hoping to Hegon that Nuremberg. The cruisers pushing in here, of course they have torp threats, which is what we're primarily concerned about. And then, you know, I'm kind of front line here. We'll keep an eye on my team throughout this game. They kind of blew my mind as to how unaware they managed to be. But, you know, nothing surprises me anymore at this point in time. Laga, interesting shot here. We line him up, and then he kind of rams the back of his ship and gets turned. So that was a pro dodge there. Whether he intentionally did it or not, debatable. But interesting play there. But yeah, so the Nuremberg's eliminated. That kind of releases us from the right-hand side. And again, we're just trying to angle primarily at these threats here. Laga's pointed in kind of at an angle here, so I'm trying to hit the citadel. He's at a steep enough angle that if we get in there, these shells could stick and detonate in the citadel. Kind of a mixture of results there. Overpens, bounces, standard penetrations. Laga, again, angling like he's launching his torp, so he's forcing us to move a little bit here. More than I want to, because we have the Colorado on the left there, and then something behind him, which eludes my memory at the moment. But I don't want to pull too far forward, especially against that Colorado, let him start sticking me in the sides, because, again, the flatter you are to these battleships, the more deadly they become. The citadel is exposed above the waterline on the ship, so you do have to be careful. If you get a chance to shoot these Soviet battleships, aim waterline and sides. If they're horizontal, if they're broadside, you'll mess them up very quickly. So now we're in a bit of a jam here. You'll notice the secondaries are kind of beaten up on the Laga. Cruisers, destroyers, you know, if you get close enough, well, I guess he's dead now, but they were beating up on him, and now they're firing at the Friedrich, or whatever that thing's called. And, you know, the secondaries on this ship seem comparable to me to the Germans. Like, we'll get in a close range brawl with this guy, we'll get into a close range brawl with Scharnhorst coming up here, and I'm not noticing a huge disparity in the output of the secondaries. So if they ever do buff the secondaries, you know, this thing could be kind of a powerhouse in terms of that. But as constituted now, you're still going to get some nice fires if you get in close. I'm not necessarily advocating push into like 5 ships 2 kilometers away like we did here. That was a bit of an overextension, but we were able to kind of get out of the situation. We backed up. I kind of maneuvered back there. If you saw that shot in the Normandy, he was crossing over broadside, and he was low enough that I wanted to get that shot into him, but I aimed just a little too high, missed the citadel, still did some decent damage, but now he's coming back around. We flipped the guns back over to the left where the back turret was facing previously. Fire that one first, and then the front ones are loaded. That'll take care of the Normandy there. So pretty good maneuverability. I'm watching this thing when we're backing up and even turning. The speed's not really dropping much, so we're going 17 knots, and that's backwards. So, I mean, if you want to get into a race with the USN battleship and you go backwards, they go forwards, this is going to be a tight race. Colorado's on the cap. They've flipped 3 caps, or they're in the process of flipping 3. We're substantially up in ships, yes, but I mean, you can see what my team is doing. We're playing domination, and they're excelling at dominating the southwest side of the map, which of course has no objectives and no real strategic significance. So not a lot of awareness here. That kind of forces me to at least try and shoot this Colorado, get some resets. You can see I'm pinging my team over and over again, but the game will not let you spam commands that are useful to your team. They will only let you spam Neptune's Beard and set a smoke screen. So if you try and spam, you know, pay attention to the cap or anything, not going to work. Mutsu's there, he's angled, yeah, but we aim up a little bit, shooting the superstructure. Get some decent damage. I'm trying to pull forward here so the Colorado doesn't shoot me in the side. Luckily, he's paying about as much attention to me as my teammates are paying attention to the caps, and doesn't take a shot. But again, if you get shot in the sides and these things, dead. Shot in the front, shot in the back. When you're angled, not dead. That's how it works. So, you know, just that's your main goal in this thing, is don't get shot in the sides. Everything else kind of falls into place after that. Anyway, they've now flipped the 3. There's Shiren Horse, which is out of my range because of the short-range brawler build we got. He's pulling into our home cap. I think it's A. And, you know, this is a game where we're up by, 5 ships or so. And I don't really feel that comfortable about winning it until it's over, just based on how we're playing it. If you willfully go out of your way to concede 4 caps or a 4-cap advantage to the enemy team, I mean, you can see what happens here. We're up 24 points, 25 points, something like that. Just start with that, and they'll be catching up, you know, even as we're killing their ships. I mean, it's such a beatdown in terms of ship count and, you know, actual team strength. So I get that maybe in their mind playing the caps isn't that big of a deal. It's just a bad habit to get into. You always want to be competitive with the caps and then get the kills as you're going along there. But anyway, they're down to 2 ships now. We still have 5 of our own, or 6 or whatever it is. So we're going to have a really hard time throwing it. But anyway, that's why I'm kind of spazzing out on my team. But we're going to pull forward here now. And again, the Colorado, I think, is targeting me at this point. We're going to point just basically straight at him. I always like to get a little bit of an angle, you know, so you want them shooting in the sides, and if you're directly pointed at a ship, they're more likely to hit you more in the nose. Keep in mind with these Russian battleships, it's called like an icebreaker nose, so the bottom of the nose, extremely heavily armored, but the top part is more lightly armored. So if you're going to aim at them, try and hit at the top of the nose on these. More likely to get pens, then you can get bigger damage. Potentially even hit the citadel at range there. So that's kind of the aim point for these ones. But if you're angled just slightly, you know, 5-10 degrees like there, then the shells, anything that hits you off in the side, is going to be an automatic ricochet. And then you're just looking for shells that are hitting you in the deck or the superstructure. That's really all the way you're going to be getting damage in most situations. Colorado's dead. Shiren Horse is coming in. Of course, the Shiren Horse is going to want to torp me, get a little bit more damage before his team loses. Although I think if he ran away, they probably would win this game. You know, I mean, you'd have me sitting there trying to flip 1 or 2 caps, but in the meantime, they'd be accruing a lot of points. Aim point there. We're trying to hit the guns. Looks like we missed the guns there, or maybe they hit but didn't knock them out. Whatever the result was, we did hit a lot of superstructure there, got about 10k. And now we're going to expect the torp. So you can just turn it off. The torp launcher on the Shiren Horse is on the side, roughly halfway. I think it's just slightly behind the halfway point. So you can actually target those torp launchers in a situation like this. I didn't expect him to turn this aggressively this early. That's why I shot earlier. But we were able to hit him pretty hard there. And then our secondaries, as we dodge these torps, we can see the secondary output from a Scharnhorst to a Sinop. I can't tell the difference personally. Maybe there's a little bit more on the Scharnhorst depending on how you spec it out, but pretty comparable. So, pretty brawly game there. We did get the Dreadnought at the end. I thought it was a pretty good look at the Sinop though, so hope you guys did enjoy that one. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's a lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you. And we'll see y'all later. Alright, peace.